Lady Gaga is being sued for mayhem. Kesha has announced a new album, and we're going to bop or flop the new music from the week. I am Pop Sam Cam, and this is the Pop Pod. Thank you for joining me. It's been the biggest week of the Pop Pod yet, and I hope that you're enjoying it. If you are, follow or subscribe if you're not already, and hit the 5-star review if you've got some time. If you've missed anything from the Pop Pod this week, or you just want to catch up on the good stuff, I will publish basically a highlights episode every Saturday that has the big talking points from the week, including 5 years of Dua Lipa's Future nostalgia, the impact of Lana Del Rey, and also whether Sabrina Carpenter's Short and Sweet is one of the iconic pop albums. For today though, let's get into the headlines. Lady Gaga is being sued by a surf company for the Mayhem logo that they say that her team has copied from them. It's a $100 million lawsuit by Lost International, which is a surfing and lifestyle brand. They say that they've had this Mayhem logo since basically the 80s on their apparel and also surfboards. It's notable that the Mayhem logo is not being used on her world tour poster.
Bitch, I just got a brand new car, hose me down at the trailer park.
Kesha has announced her first album since becoming an independent artist called Period, and it's due out on the 4th of July. It includes the singles that we've heard so far, including Joyride, Delusional, and the new one Yippee-Ki-Yay, which I will review in the round of Bop or Flop coming up later on in the podcast. Carly Rae Jepsen is scoring a musical, which is thought to be Lena Dunham's 10 Things I Hate About You. She was pictured with her former Cinderella co-star Anne Harada, who said that she had reunited with Jepsen for a read-through of her musical. And finally, Ed Sheeran has revealed that with every album that he writes, he is always writing on the side for a song to pitch to Rihanna. And within that said that Love Yourself, the song that eventually became a huge hit for Justin Bieber, was originally penned with Rihanna in mind.
'Cause if you like the way you look that much, oh baby, you should go and love yourself.
Now, he's also said that he wrote Shape of You, his massive hit, with Rihanna in mind. So it sounds like Rihanna could have had several hits by way of Ed Sheeran. On to the charts update, and it's all about Selena Gomez, probably for the last time in a little while, but I previously reported that Playboi Carti's Music was going to beat her and Benny Blanco to the number one position on the Billboard 200, but it seemed after a pretty strong 24 hours of sales, that has grown a lot tighter, and now they are challenging Playboi pretty comfortably for number one on the Billboard 200. I'll let you know how that ends up next week.
I just wanna go all night, I just wanna go insane, touching the summer rain, hotter than the bluest flame.
Bluest Flame, one of the songs from the album which was co-written by Charlie XCX, is also starting to blow up 18 spots on the US Spotify charts to number 90.
Popular, you're gonna be popular.
So today we obviously have the deluxe edition of Ariana Grande's album Eternal Sunshine called Brighter Days Ahead. To me, it feels like this is kind of a farewell to music for the time being, a gift to the fans while she goes off and pursues basically movies. Obviously, she starred in Wicked this year. She has the second part of Wicked still to come, and she received an Oscar nomination for that role, which is pretty massive and puts her in a position that has been tried many times by pop stars. I want to talk about what pop stars did while they were pursuing acting, whether they put music to the side, whether they gave up music completely, so we can kind of get a vibe of where Ariana Grande is going to go after this. She has revealed what her plans are, sort of. She said that she's always going to be on stage, she's always going to do pop stuff, but she doesn't think that she's going to be doing it at the rate that she has for the past 10 years for the next 10 years. Now, Ariana, up until Positions, was one of the most consistent hit makers around. She was basically churning out an album every 2 years, even quicker at points. The time between Sweetener, Thank You Next, and Positions was rapid. But then she took a break in between and ended up giving us Eternal Sunshine in 2024 and obviously the deluxe in 2025. I feel like it's going to be a little while until we get new music from her. We've already heard so many rumors and stories about Hollywood directors who are after her for their projects after the success of Wicked. And I think that it's going to keep going for a while. And when I think about other pop stars that have done this, I mean, there's been so many. It almost comes with the territory that at some point in a pop star's career, they are going to test out acting. We saw it with Beyonce when she did, firstly, the Austin Powers movie.
Well, all I know is Mama only got a taste of honey, but she wanted the whole beehive.
Oh, beehive. Beehive.
Then she did Dreamgirls, and then she did the Etta James film Cadillac Records as well. And she really put her heart into the acting world for a while. But she's always been a pretty consistent pop star as well. She has always had projects or something on the boil. And we know to expect also a period of kind of silence from Beyonce while she's cooking something. So I would say that it didn't really affect her music career too much. In 2002, Britney Spears starred in Crossroads. I would say that's the only movie that kind of was a big sort of blockbuster for her, and it didn't really interfere with her music because she actually combined it with it and ended up giving us I'm Not a Girl, Not Yet a Woman off her third album, Britney, while she was doing that film.
I'm not a girl. Not yet a woman.
Around the same time, Mariah Carey attempted film with Glitter.
Mariah Carey. Glitter.
That was a widely panned film, but it was also paired with a musical project, basically a new album. And then she followed it up pretty quickly with another new album after that. So she didn't really leave music at all. I guess the ones that are the most appropriate to look at right now is Lady Gaga, who, of course, also earned an Oscar nomination for her role in 2018's A Star Is Born. She had Joanne in 2016, and then A Star Is Born in 2018, and then didn't release another new studio Lady Gaga album until 2020 with Chromatica, and in that time was also filming House of Gucci, her other big role.
I don't consider myself a particularly ethical person, but I am fair.
And it felt for a while like she was going to really give up things for movies, but she's been pretty consistent in keeping her musical output strong, and I feel like she will always have music at the core of what she does. Even with A Star Is Born and that break of 4 years in between studio albums, we had the A Star Is Born soundtrack, which had some of her biggest hits to date, including Shallow, which was a #1 hit on the Billboard Hot 100.
I'm of the deep end, watch as I dive in. I'll never meet the ground.
So again, this is another pop star who is stuck with the film thing. Harry Styles ended up going into acting with 2017's Dunkirk, and then also starred in 2022's Don't Worry Darling.
I'm part of something important, Alice. This mission, what Frank's doing, it matters.
He also had a brief role in a Marvel film, but again, the music has kind of kept tracking along, even when it felt like he was detouring for film. I mean, Don't Worry Darling was kind of a bit of a disaster. But then Harry's House, also released in 2022, kind of got things back on track, and I think showed him that maybe his place is more as a pop star than an actor. Rihanna has always kind of flirted with the film world throughout her entire career. She ended up doing Battleship in 2012, Valerian in 2017, and Ocean's 8 in 2018.
My name's Debbie.
Name Ball.
What's your real name?
8-Ball.
We use real names around here.
Can I talk to you for a minute?
But throughout this whole thing, she was releasing albums as well. Obviously ended that run with 2016's Anti, but I don't think we can blame it on the acting world, her absence. I think we can really point towards Fenty Beauty as being the reason why she has been so kind of absent. Taylor Swift has also tried her hand at acting. 2019's Cats, she was in a movie that many of us would like to forget, even though I found it wildly entertaining for all the wrong reasons.
The cavity's a ginger cat. He's very tall and thin. You would know him if you saw him, for his eyes are sunken in.
2022's Amsterdam, where she got pushed in front of a vehicle. Obviously, Taylor Swift has continued to release music through all of this. The Weeknd has found a way to really combine these worlds in doing Uncut Gems in 2019, created The Idol in 2023, which was widely panned but did give him some huge hits. And then this year, he's set to release a film accompaniment for Hurry Up Tomorrow, which I feel like kind of sets out a path for what Ariana Grande could do in terms of combining these two worlds. She's obviously very interested in acting, and that is kind of spurring her on creatively right now. But with the release of this short film, Brighter Days Ahead, with the record, I think that really shows how she could kind of plot forward with her music career, or even do a film where she's very integral in the soundtrack, which is something that Charli XCX is doing, another artist who is kind of departing the pop world for acting in TV shows and movies for the time being. But she has a number of soundtracks and scores on the boil as well. That's where I would really like to see Ariana Grande explore things further. I want to talk finally about Selena Gomez, who is somebody who I thought would really put pop on the back burner for the while she focused on acting. She's had a highly coveted role in Only Murders in the Building, which is a very successful TV show that's been going for 4 seasons now.
Do I want to break into a dead guy's apartment and go through all his shit? Sounds like an afternoon.
And then you've also got Amelia Perez, which obviously has faced some pretty bad press recently, but it was a breakthrough role for her in terms of being in an Oscar-nominated movie. And I thought that would just spur her along, but then she surprised everyone with I Said I Love You First, with Benny Blanco, going back into the pop thing, although it feels like she's kind of been standing on the sidelines and not throwing herself into it too much with like a big budget, big pop kind of era. So in that way, I see both her and Ariana Grande at a sort of juncture right now, and I'm interested to see where it goes. I really hope that Ariana Grande doesn't leave music too long, because I think she's one of the most integral pop stars around. I think she's one of those pop stars who's really in her bag right now and kind of, I don't want to say on the edge of greatness because she's already crossed over into greatness, but I still feel like Ariana is yet to give us like her magnum opus. And I feel like if she could combine this film thing with the music, then she may have it in her. It's something that Miley Cyrus is about to do with Something Beautiful, which will be accompanied by a film. Very interested to see how that one goes. Let's move into Bop or Flop. Now, I have to note with this week's Bop or Flop, I am recording at a time where Ariana Grande's Eternal Sunshine Deluxe has still not been released. So it is not included here. However, I will talk about it next week on the podcast, and I will also put a reaction up on YouTube today if you're listening to it on Friday, the 28th of March. Otherwise, it will already be up. So we've got new releases though from Dua Lipa, Kesha, Ari Lennox, Maren Morris. Let's get into it. Kesha's release is called Yippee Ki Yay, and it features T-Pain. It pains me to say this because I really want this era to go incredibly well for Kesha, but this track and Delusional are some of the worst things that she's ever released in her career. This reminds me of an Avril Lavigne song that I think is pretty woeful. I just don't know why she's gone back to this kind of like Lumineers-esque combined with like frat bro country rap sort of it's just an absolute mess, and I really, really don't like it. It pains me to say that because this is her first album free, and I felt that kind of liberation on a song like Joyride, even though that also wasn't one of my favorites, to be honest, but I did feel where she was going with it. And now, like, going back to this kind of very, I don't know, 2010s commercial sound, it just doesn't feel like her. It doesn't feel uniquely her. I'm not sure why T-Pain is even on this, because it doesn't sound like his kind of ground at all to be stomping in. I don't know. That's all I've got to say about this. I've got to give it a flop. Carly Uchis' Sunshine and Rain. This is the first single off her forthcoming album called Sincerely, and it is just like honey. It just envelops you, this song. It is so warm and inviting, and even though it's talking about kind of a world that's gone wrong, it shows a brighter future, and it all starts with Carly Uchis delivering choruses like this because, my God, it could heal a nation. She is just such a talented vocalist, and I absolutely love this. Moving on to a song that kind of puts me in a similar vibe as well, Naomi Sharon's Can We Do This Over? Naomi Sharon is an artist signed to Drake's OVO label, making really interesting kind of Sade-inspired pop music. She had an album, Obsidian, back a couple years ago, and now this is her first track for the year, and I think that it is just such a finely written and produced R&B track. Like, there is not anything that is done wrong on this. I highly recommend that you give this a listen. I'm giving it a bop. Another semi-new artist who's called Orchid with a song called Eden. Orchid is a Swedish pop artist. She's making really dark, kind of distorted pop music that sits closer to an artist like The Knife than Robin. And Eden is very much in that vibe. It feels like celestial and just has a real sort of, I don't know, it's almost a creepy feeling that I get from this song, but I actually really gravitate towards that sort of feeling. It's unsettling, but also inviting in the way that all pop tracks should be. Very, very strong moment for her. That's a bop. Moving on to Dua Lipa's Physical remix with Troye Sivan. She surprised us with this remix for the 5-year anniversary of Future Nostalgia. I didn't know this remix existed, but I love that she's gotten Troye Sivan on it. Troy on these kind of 80s flavored songs just does such a good job. It reminds me of what he did on Ariana Grande's Supernatural, which I felt really elevated that song to a new place. And I think he elevates Physical to a new place as well. It just gives it such a new warmth and really revitalizes what I think is probably the best, if not the second best behind Don't Start Now, off Future Nostalgia. I want to hear Troy doing a whole album of this 80s kind of Max Martin flavored sort of stuff. So good. Bop. Lucy Dacus teams up with Hosier for Bullseye.
That love, holding each other so tight, we got stuck.
I've been up and down about all these singles off the new Lucy Dacus album, which actually is out today. Their album is called Forever Is a Feeling. I really liked the first single, which was called Ankles, but this one just, it's not really doing it for me. I mean, it almost gets there from an emotional point of view in the chorus, but then it kind of drops off to me. And then Hosier, I've never really resonated with Hosier's music, so it's perhaps unsurprising that I'm not loving him on this, but I just feel like she could have carried it by herself and then taken it somewhere really special. At the end, it sounds harsh to say this is a flop. I don't think flop's the right word for it, but let's just go with not a bop. The next one is Rico Nasty's On the Low.
Damn, your lips so edible. This sex incredible. It don't get no better, no. It don't get no better, no.
She has a new album coming out. She is signed to Fueled by Ramen, which is the label that's had artists like Paramore. She felt like she was going in more of a rock vibe with the last release, but this one feels more like kind of glossy, slippery pop done in a sort of like post-hyper pop kind of way. This is my favorite vibe to hear her in. I absolutely love it. I love how it really juxtaposes the harshness of the release that came before. I think it's a really cool moment for her. It's a bop from me. Maren Morris's Carry Me Through.
But I'm still the one who has to choose to carry me through.
This one, Carry Me Through, is a really sort of heartwarming ballad that she's written with Greg Kirsten, who's been a go-to producer for her over the past couple years. And yeah, I just think I love her voice, and I really love the gospel undertones to this track. It doesn't feel as country as previous records. I know that she stepped away from that country sound, but it still has that kind of uplifting country atmosphere that Maren has delivered at so many points in her career. This one's a bop from me, finishing out with Ari Lennox, Soft Girl Era.
Baby, that's $1 million in the mirror. Step back, get back, can't get nearer. Ain't tryna do nothing but look pretty in here. Hurry up and put me in my soft girl era.
This is the first release from Ari in a little while, and sees her teaming up with Jermaine Dupri on a song that kind of throws me back to the emancipation of me, Mariah Carey, or even E=MC². It's just so easy to listen to. It feels soft, like the title suggests, and it just breezes by like all of the best Jermaine Dupri productions. Love these two together on this one, and I really love this track. It's a bop. Let me know what you liked, what you didn't like, whether you think that I've got it totally wrong with my reviews of this week's new music. You can comment below if you're listening on Spotify. Otherwise, you can hit me up on TikTok or Instagram, wherever you can find me. Please remember to follow and subscribe to this podcast. And if you want to hear what music I'm listening to on this week's New Music Friday, I have a playlist for that as well. The link for that is in my bio everywhere. Thank you for joining me for another week of the Pop Pod, and I will see you next week.